These Birmingham boys are becoming really beautiful. Their manes have gotten massive, and just looking at this Birmingham boy, it's so much darker than what it used to be. He's really getting that black coming through now, and at one point he used to have a very black stripe straight down the middle of his mane, and the rest was quite gold in color, and now it seems like that black stripe is starting to get bigger and bigger, and it's almost like the mane is starting to become multicolored. Just going to try and see if we can get... So let's see if we can get in here. So I'm just going to try and go down a little bit so we have a better perspective, and then just straighten out so that we don't block the road if they do want to come out. Just go in a little bit closer to them there. Alright, sorry guys. Alright, so we're going to just position here, and that way if they do move, then I can be able to back up with them and be able to follow them along as they go. Now I'm pretty sure this is what's going to happen, is we're going to see exactly what we saw just now, where the animals are going to get up, they're going to move, mate, and then down again, up, move, mate, and down again. So this is what we will see quite commonly through the afternoon. But it's really nice to see the two of them heads up, and you can see, look at the size of that male. His mane is becoming massive. He's almost getting a straight hair. It looks like he's had a big perm. I'm sure David Hasselhoff back in the day would be proud of that mane. Now, by the looks of that mating, it didn't seem like she was too interested. She was almost like just doing it because he's following her. Also, given that she is young, she wouldn't have mated too many times before, so this is all a little bit new to her. And he seems thoroughly disinterested. I think it's too hot for him to really concentrate on what he's doing. And so that is why you'll find that it's all a little bit sluggish at this stage and a little bit half-hearted. There wasn't even very much audio. Normally when lions mate, due to the fact that they have this barb on the end of their penis, it often hurts the female, and so you get a lot of growling and carrying on, and then as she turns over and he retracts, so they then have a little bit of a tiff. But that particular one, you could see there was really not too much in the way of aggression or even vocalizing. They were both quite quiet, and by the looks of it, since we had a rear side view, it would look like he didn't actually even penetrate her, which means that he's a little bit half-hearted and a little bit lazy about this whole thing, and I would imagine that he will get it right once it gets cooler, and he'll get a little bit more interest. But amazing to see how as soon as she gets moving and she gets going, this male's up and following her. He doesn't want to let her out of his sight. And the other interesting thing is that you'll find that these lions will be very quiet tonight in terms of roaring. This male's not going to roar very much because he doesn't want to attract attention from his brothers. So if, let's say, he had to roar, the other males will then start to come, and they will come and try and get the female from him. So you'll find that he'll get more competition. So better to stay quiet, do the mating in a quiet manner, and therefore you don't have to worry too much about competition. But look at her leg there on the side. You can see it's going in and out quite quickly, so it gives you an idea of how warm it is. It's very muggy this afternoon and humid. It feels quite sticky and the air feels close, and if you're a lioness or a lion that's covered in fur, it must be very uncomfortable. My boy, you're now blocking our view completely. So the problem where they're lying at the moment is that the road goes in a little bit, and on the sides is quite steep, so parking on the top there is very difficult because you don't see anything with all the grass. We'll just see his mane sticking out. So hopefully what's going to happen is she's going to get up and move towards us, and then he will follow in behind her, and we'll be able to see their faces quite nicely. But for now, what we're going to get is a backside view of this male lion as he watches over his female. He's going to make sure that nothing gets too close. But I was quite interested just to watch also the way that he is around the vehicle as he walked right between myself and Abel, and he was fairly relaxed. She was a little bit kind of growly at his approach as he was following in behind her, but he was very chilled, so it was quite nice to see him up close. I haven't seen him in a long time, and he's looking great. Right, we're going to see now if these two are going to carry on with their romantic afternoon, and if they are going to start facing us for a better picture. And while we do that, let's go have a look at Jamie's dogs.
Our dogs are on the move and leading us through some very, very interesting places. Everybody hold on, we might get stuck, we may not. I'm just going to take my foot off the clutch and hope for the best. Here we go. Are we through? Yes, we are. For our new viewers, you will see us driving over some trees during this chase. There's some dogs on my left, there's a dog ahead of me, sorry Dave. There's dogs everywhere. You will see us driving over some trees. You don't need to worry, we're very careful about the species that we do drive over. We'll go for young saplings and trees that will spring up and that are common species out here and not vital to the holding together of the soil. There are certain trees that we absolutely will not drive over. Okay. Oh, hi. Hello, sweetheart. I nearly touched her. She came yelping past the front of our vehicle. That is amazing. She nearly touched she basically scraped the side of the car. Hello, girl. Little squeak to ask the others where they are and where they're going. Okay, I'm going to start moving now because from experience, letting them get too far ahead is a very poor decision indeed. They moved much earlier than I thought they were going to. Thank goodness we were already on our way back, because nobody but us feels intrepid this afternoon in terms of following them. We got this, Dave. We got it. Let's give them a little bit of space so that they don't separate. There we go, there's another vehicle there. That's wonderful news. Mohammed in Doha, lovely to have you on board. I hope you're enjoying the frantic chase. Mohammed, you want to know what is threatening the population of wild dogs? The answer is a couple of things: loss of habitat, overpopulation with lions in certain areas, and the spread of disease. The spread of disease is a big one because they're so closely related to domestic dogs. They're not domestic dogs, but they are closely related. They are able to get diseases transmitted by domestic dogs themselves. Rabies, canine distemper. These are all things that can be transmitted. Let's do a head count. Well, I'm going to do a head count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13. Awesome. What a spectacular image this evening. That is so beautiful. Okay, we're going to try and get in front of them. We do have the VR on the front of our vehicle, and this is a very unique opportunity. Here comes 13, 14, and 15. This is a really unique opportunity, so I might start presenting to the VR, and never fear, we'll still be taking your questions. I just might be ignoring you briefly, but I will still be here with you. You get to see some behind-the-scenes filming. Hey, Rollo. Oh yeah, Rollo's on the back of the vehicle with me. He's in charge of the VR. I thought I saw him turn several shades whiter than his natural British complexion as we did that mad off-road chase. But he seems to have recovered nicely. There's some colour back in his cheeks. That might just be the temperature. This is awesome. Thanks, M4. You can go if you want. You happy? Thank you. Thanks, guys. I can smell the wild dogs. It's such a unique scent. I love it. It's dirty, smelly, and I love it. Hold on, everybody. Rusty won't go into fourth. Rusty's just going to have to. Hold on. Rollo, are you ready? Yes. Yep. Good. And we're going to try and catch them up here. The grass is so long, I can't see. Please don't have turned off yet. Here we go, here we go. Okay. There's the alpha male. He's the one with the injury on his backside there. So here comes an entire pack of Africa's second most endangered predator. They're going to walk right past our vehicle. What a special sight this is. They're so close I can smell them. I could touch them if I reached my hand over the side of the vehicle. Look at them. This is absolutely phenomenal. Oh, this afternoon they're going to head out. They're going to start hunting. They're splitting up all around us and moving right past us. The way that wild dogs hunt is that they course through the vegetation, seeking out any secret antelope that might be trying to hide away. One of Africa's most effective predators, and one with the most fascinating social structure. In this entire pack, there's an elephant coming as well. This could be very interesting. We might need to move. There's an elephant coming. They don't like wild dogs. How is this going to play out? Here they come, all the way around past us. This elephant's going to start charging any second now. I'm going to try and reposition very shortly. The dogs are very close next to me. It's not an ideal position to be in. Dogs, you've got me into trouble here. Okay, we don't want to be part of misplaced aggression with this elephant. But we can't move and risk hurting the dogs. Okay, now, I'm here too. I'm here too. Okay. Dogs? Oh. Hey! Okay, we're going to turn around. We're going to watch it chase the dogs. Here it goes for it. We had to get out of the way there. You can see the aggression from the elephant. Look at this. Look at him racing after them. It's a young bull. Elephants just don't like wild dogs. He's sprinting after them. We've got to be careful with elephants. We're okay with a bull, but if it were a breeding herd, we would actually have been in serious trouble there. Okay. Let's catch up with them. Elephants hate wild dogs. Whether it's their smell, they're not a threat to them at all. But they are, what we don't want is to be part of the misplaced aggression from the elephant bull, which is what's happening over there. Okay, let's move along here. The dogs are walking along here. I'm going to keep an eye on this elephant as well. How incredible was that? Hey Dave, how's your heart rate? Mine's pretty high, I'm not going to lie. That was so cool. Dogs right next to us, elephant right next to us. It doesn't get better than this. Happy birthday, Jamie! I'll watch this elephant now. I'm just letting the other vehicle move past. We can't reposition right now. This elephant's going to come charging out of the bushes at us. He still wants to. Okay. I'm going to go a little bit around him. He's such an angry boy. Now don't come take it out of me. I'll be bloody cross with you if you do. Stay there. Okay, let's go through here. Hold on, everybody. Oh, it's a tight gap, but we're gonna do it. And I haven't hit the VR rig once. Yet. That was a bit too soon to start boasting. Hold on. Alright, the dogs have had a chance to get quite a way away from me. Watch out, Rollo. They've got a chance to get quite a way away. So I'm going to send you back to Tristan and those lions. In the meantime, we're going to catch up with our dogs. Hold on.
Well, Jamie, sounds like you're having an absolutely fantastic afternoon with the dogs. And dogs and elephant interaction is always something to watch. They just seems to get completely out of control very quickly, which is complete opposite to what we have here. As you can see, everything is very sedate at the moment, from the chaos of the dogs and elephants to very sleepy, relaxed lions. They've gotten off the road a little bit and they've plonked themselves down in the long grass. Now, I don't know if this is the best idea, because the grass has got lots of parasites, and you can see the male is battling to find a place to actually get comfortable. He had his head up against that tree for a little bit and is now flopped over and trying to find somewhere a little bit better. But I don't think they're going to stay here for very long, because the sun is about to hit them. It's just come out of a little thick bank of cloud and it is very hot on our backs, and so at the moment there's going to be a bit of sun that's about to hit their faces. You can see on the male he's got a bit of that afternoon glow on his face, and so I think they're going to get quite uncomfortable quite quickly, and so I would imagine they're going to get up and move again. And like I say, with this long grass, it's not the most comfortable place for a lion to lie. It's got little seeds poking it in its face. There's all these ticks in the grass at the moment, and those will be climbing all over, particularly a male lion with that long mane that he's got there. It's the perfect place for a tick to latch on, to then be able to start moving around on the body and anchoring itself in to feed off the blood. And you can see all the flies that are landing on him and going off again. Those are all those biting flies, which are the ones that will be driving these lions crazy. They'll be landing around the ears and facial areas, and it hurts quite a bit when they do decide to bite you. But as I was saying earlier, you can see they are very relaxed with these conditions, and the two of them are quite happy just to take it nice and easy. Well, I think we're going to go back to Jamie, and I believe she's caught up with the dogs again, so let's see what's happening there.
This is absolutely spectacular. An entire pack of wild dogs in this gorgeous open area. I've overused the word spectacular several times today, and for that I do apologize. But sometimes, in the heat of the moment, the adjectives just don't come to you. It's better than incredible. Look at that. What a view. That wild dog came and lay right next to us as the elephant was charging them. I'm not going to protect you, buddy. The elephant will go right through me. They've spotted an Inyala, by the way. I think it's an Inyala. It might be a Wildebeest. No, I think it's a Wildebeest. Oh, this is so stunning. I'm going to move, Dave, just to catch up. Sorry, I know it's a lovely, lovely position, but just so we've got the complete view with that wildebeest as well. Let's go this way. Oh, wow. There's the wildebeest, and there go the wild dogs. Intense, exciting, athletic. Alright, okay, one word tweet. I try not to do it too often, but I have to have one. One word tweet on this World Wildlife Day. How do these creatures make you feel? Dave? Gobsmacked. Me too, Dave. Me too. Pretty gobsmacked right now. Look at the posture of these. They're gonna do it. They're thinking about it. You crazy dogs. Wildebeest not having any of it. He's moving off. Here's that posture, ears flat. Such a typical hunting dog posture when they start to move towards their prey. Red's word is pumped. I hear you, Red. I hear you. Red, and all of you, I'm sorry, there's some housekeeping I've got to take care of. Our stations, I think some of these Madutch will be on Triple M by now. We're at the back with the rest of the pack, but they should cross out just north of that Red Dam Road junction. Dina, you say that your word is exhilarated. Again, agreed. Now this is shortly going to be our last view of them. There are lots of other vehicles that want to come and join us from the western area of the reserve. So they're about to cross onto Arathusa. It's not that they're going... Oh, sorry, Dave. I'm sorry. Let's race for a last view, though, because they're going to be gone so fast. And it's not that they're going out of our traverse area. Ooh. I'm sorry, Rex. You're going to shout at me for that. Needs will as needs must. We'll try and get back to them towards the end of the Sunset Safari, but there are lots and lots of vehicles that traverse that area, and they will be coming to see them. Oh, they've turned north. Okay, I take that back. Janice's one word is wondrous. I agree, Janice. Shanae, you're the only person that I can copy on this channel. The dogs, the Madutch, have turned north now. They're running parallel to Triple M, but probably about 50 meters in. Okay, copy. I think just keep coming north. They might come along that Power Lines Road. Okay, copy. Sorry, everybody. Communicating with the other guides, making sure that Shanae, who is a guide here that many of you will be familiar with, I'm just helping them to find these wild dogs, because if you don't call them early enough, the dogs have vanished. Oh, dust, dogs, mud bath, yay! Look at this, how gorgeous. Can you see there, Dave? Look at this. Oh, I'm hot now, need to cool down. Everybody in. Oh, I feel like doing that too. Oh, did you see the spray of water coming from that dog's tail? Impressive. I can say that nobody would ever describe these creatures as boring. That is for sure. Lynn says you say your word is privileged. I know. Especially when they've got that trust lying next to your vehicle like that. Trust or... Oh, look at these two. I hope you're getting some amazing screenshots. We are privileged, Lynn. That is so waterlogged. Now, Andreen, you say your word is sad because you can't be here in person. I hear you, Andreen. We're very, very lucky to be able to see stuff like this. However, I'm really glad that we're perhaps able to bring you the next best thing. Watching it happen live. That's how I feel anyway. Alright, as they start to go through this bush, if they start to continue through this bush, it'll be the last view of them. There are lots of other vehicles waiting to see, and they're actually now at the boundary with Simbambili, so it looks as though they might cross in there. Thank you, dogs, for a really, truly amazing afternoon. Somebody having a big shake. Get the water off those ears. Their tails look so bedraggled when they've been swimming. They look ridiculous. Look at that. What's that? Not their normal feather duster white. Those ears. And we think this is the Sands pack. It's definitely not the Investec pack. There's no collared animals, so there's no collared dogs. I'm pretty sure that it is the Sands pack. And we did also chat to the guys from EWT about them. Quick, one last view, everybody. And then Jamie's going to go collapse somewhere. Still, wait. The day is not yet over. They're going towards an open area. I know. I thought the same thing, Larry. They didn't give themselves a good shake, like a domestic dog would. Ooh, angry mongoose just went. Churr. I suppose I would too if a pack of wild dogs came running through and I was mongoose side. Here we go. Still got him. This has actually been quite a sedate wild dog chase, in a way. I mean, I'm sure that Dave's bottom disagrees with me, it having left the surface of his seat several times this afternoon. But it wasn't completely manic. Whew. Reposition. Mia in Illinois? Yeah. I think this is what I would have wished for my birthday. I don't think it's really possible to have a much better birthday present. Taylor's and Brian's rap was amazing and it was a lovely birthday gift. But this is pretty hard to beat. Hey Dave, it's not even your birthday.
No, I'm just like I'm with you.
Bounce, bounce, bounce. What you after? What are they after? They're all running forward now. There might be some impala in this area. They do like to eat impala. And this herd does spend a bit of time here. Oh no, hold on, we've all stopped again. There is a gentle smell of smoke. I'm not sure whether it's coming from my vehicle or the other guys. I think we're okay. I was going to say something. Oh yes, is this what I would have wished for my birthday present? Yes, especially because it's actually World Wildlife Day. Most definitely. And probably the latter takes a slightly higher priority. A much higher priority. Debbie in Vancouver would like to hear the VR guys, one word. His name is Rollo, and he's looking at me. What would your one word be?
Outrageous?
Outrageous. There you go. Outrageous is Rollo, also known as the VR guys, one word. There was a moment where one snuck up behind us where I thought Rollo was going to jump out of his skin. Not because he's scared of the wild dogs, but just because she really came as a surprise, didn't she? She was so close we could have touched her. In fact, that happened to me several times today. I could have reached out and raked my fingers along their fur. Hello, where'd you come from? Eh? Trotting down the road towards us? What you got to say for yourself? Sorry. Oh, and gone. Making Dave work. You can't see it, but the shuffling around, these vehicles are not built for two people on the back. The interesting shuffling that happens during a wild dog sighting is entertaining. Let's just put it that way. Okay, hold on. I'm going to... No, there we go. All right. I'm going to catch up with our wild dogs for as long as I can. In the meantime, apparently Tayla's found something birthday inspired.
I'm not showing you that yet. Come and have a look what I have got over here. Where did you go? No, of course I've forgotten where it is. Here it is. Haha. It's a wee little caterpillar. Look how pretty it is. Very hairy. Not one that you would want to touch. Most likely those hairs covering its body will make you very, very itchy as a defense, because this little caterpillar on its own is not much. But it is very small still, and it is feeding on a bush willow, on a variable bush willow. And it's unusual now because we're coming so late into the year. The hot weather is very, very slowly disappearing, and most of the caterpillars have already pupated and turned into butterflies or moths. So this one better get eating. It has got a long way to go, hasn't it? But let me show you what I've really been working on. That was just to incorporate some insect life. We've been working very hard all afternoon on this. Pile of elephant dung, some candles. The grasses are the candles. Got to stick that in. And then I've got an array of beautiful flowers. So Jamie, this is my last birthday present to you while we're out on safari. I'm not going to try and sing again because I fear as though I will not be as good as I was this morning. Though that was really interesting to laugh. But this is very cool. But now the most important thing about this is that you have a good night and a good day, and we play lots of games this evening, which will be lots of fun, I'm sure. But the most important part is that Craig has a piece of this cake. Come on, Craig. Come on, Craig. Here we go. Let me pull a piece off. Do you want some of the flowers? Yes, you want some of the flowers. We'll give you some, Craig. It's a lovely little... That's a beautiful piece for such a big man. Come, Craig, eat the cake. Craig is eating the cake. He loves it so much. He said it was the best elephant poo cake he's ever had in his entire life. Now we're being ridiculous. Let me get off of the sand. And now I am now covered in sand, as you can see, which is actually really, really nice because I was wanting to exfoliate. So we'll just give it a good rub. Get it off. It's now attached to my body. It's lovely. It helps with the itchy bites. It's actually quite nice. I recommend that if you've been attacked by mosquitoes, what you should do is lay in some sand if you are feeling a bit itchy. Never mind the bark off of the marula or the cambium layer, and just get right in there. And I've got sand all over my face as well. Just get it everywhere. But we're bumbling along. We actually have to pick up the pace slightly. We're a little bit far away from home, and the sun is going down. We're in Weaver's Nest at the moment, but we haven't got too far. We might just make it back to quarantine in time before it gets too dark. And everybody, well, all the insects are going to bed now. The birds are starting to give off their final call. Perhaps we'll have a look at a sunset in a moment. We'll try to get up on a termite mound somewhere. But we're going to go back across now to Tristan, who is still sitting with those big cats.
We are indeed, and they are still very, very flat. Now, I've just had a little look over my shoulder now that Tayla's mentioned the sunset, and I tell you what, she's going to have a tough job of finding that sunset because it's gone behind a big thick bank of cloud, and so I don't think there's actually going to be too much of a sunset, but good luck to Tayla. Also, she's quite brave asking Craig the Batman to eat elephant dung cake. Batman has lots of ninja skills, and he was not somebody you would want to play a trick on, so I would be careful if I were you, Tayla. Craig seems like the sneaky type that would maybe be able to get you in the middle of the night when you least expect it, so I wouldn't want to be there. But like I was saying, the lions are very, very flat at the moment. They're not really doing too much. They've been quite quiet, and I think they're just really trying to sleep off the last of this heat. Slowly but surely now the temperature is just dropping and it's starting to become a lot better, and I think these lions eventually are going to start getting a little bit more active. Like I say, now that they've found themselves in this carpet of grass, they're pretty happy. Also, the sun going behind that bank of cloud now means that at the end of the day they no longer have the sun beating down on them, and that's why they can lie right out in the open like they are now without being too hot. So Victoria, you want to know how long they will be staying together. Well, it depends. There's a number of factors that could influence how long they stay together. It could be another one of the Birminghams could arrive and there could be a little altercation and that male then takes over. It could also be that this female is in a false estrus and she's just bumped into this male, and so for safety reasons she's just gone into this false estrus cycle and pretending to mate with him in order to not get attacked by him. So it could be that. But if it is proper mating, then generally it's about a 3 to 4 day, maybe 2 days, depending on how long they have been together. But I know that the 4 males were seen, I think, 2 days ago together, so she can't have been with them for too long. So I would imagine probably another 2 days of this, and they'll stay together for those 2 days and eventually then break apart and carry on. And I'm really interested to know where Amber Eyes is, because this young female and Amber Eyes, who's the other female that's been walking around together, they were seen apart from the Nkuhumas for a number of weeks now, and I wonder where Amber Eyes is. I wonder if she's not maybe with another one of the Birminghams mating somewhere. That would be quite interesting. It would be really nice if we found the 4 of them in the morning. Imagine 2 Birminghams, Amber Eyes and the young female all mating. That would be quite something. But I haven't heard any reports of anyone finding any other mating lions or any of the Birminghams this afternoon, so I'm not quite sure where they actually are at the moment. I think Steph did tell me this morning that he had tracks for 2 of the Birminghams going west into Simamili Arathusa area, so that leaves 1 still remaining. Maybe that's the one that's with Amber Eyes, and hopefully this young lioness will be able to find the rest of the pride quite quickly. It can be quite daunting for a young female to be on her own, and especially once they break apart from this mating saga, for her to be by herself is not going to be easy. She's going to have to deal with a lot of stresses and strains, and it's going to be nerve-wracking to try and find the rest of her pride. That, coupled with the fact that the pride has been having a few run-ins, like we were talking about earlier, lots of scrapes and scars on them at the moment, so it seems like they have been fighting with other lions, might stress her out a little bit. But hopefully through vocalizing and roaring, she'll be able to then contact call and make contact with the pride and find one another. But you would be given to be thinking that she may be dead. Even her breathing has become very, very slow in comparison to what it was earlier. Earlier they were panting quite heavy. There was quite a big movement in that diaphragm, and you could see the stomach rising and falling and the rib cage rising and falling. And now, because it's cooled off quite nicely, you can see her breathing has become a lot more relaxed, and it almost looks like she's not alive, other than that ear flicking. Now, I can tell you the biting flies are out in full force. I'm being attacked by them as well. They've bitten me on my legs and on my arms, so I feel for you, my girl. I'm sorry that that's happening. It's not very comfortable, I know. Although she doesn't look too fussed by it, does she? She's kind of passed out and still sleeping, and he is very much the same as well. As you can see, a very similar situation. His rate of breathing is also slowed right down, and ear is flicking every now and then, but otherwise they are deathly still. So HLG, it's an interesting question. You want to know whether anything will prey on a single lioness moving around. Well, I suppose hyenas could be a threat. Whether or not they're preying on a lioness is a different thing, but taking the opportunity to attack a lion, yes, they would. If a clan of hyena comes across a young female like this, they definitely know that they would be able to attack that female and probably win that battle, because that female is going to lack experience. And funny enough, I've actually seen this particular pride and this particular female chased up a tree by hyenas. That clan was 28 female hyenas that chased them up, and they all went into trees, the whole pride. But there will still be those scars from that interaction, and so she'll probably be quite nervous of hyenas. So hyenas could be a threat. Other prides of lions, if she stumbled into the Styx pride in the south potentially, or the Talamati pride or the Torchwood pride by herself, they could attack her. So yes, she does have some animals, but whether or not they'll prey on her is negligible, well, not negligible, debatable, should I say. They often will be just a victim of circumstance where they get attacked by whatever is in the area that they've stumbled into, rather than actually being preyed upon. But hyenas and other lions is the short answer to that. Right, so we're going to hope that these two decide to start stirring, and while they lie here and we wait, let's go back to Jamie, who's still got the dogs.
Well, the bad news is that there is no bad news, and the good news is that the wild dogs decided to come back onto Djuma. So we've had about 5 last views of the wild dogs before they've crossed, and every time has proved to be a complete falsehood. And they're going straight towards that Tambuti thicket, the Tambuti thicket of my nightmares, where the Nkuhumas would disappear into, or did disappear into, for 2 days this week. They aren't still there, I will say, which is good news for the wild dogs. Wait, are there more going to pop out? Mary, you want to know what happens if the alpha male or female gets too old? I'm going to have to go around here. Definitely can't go through it. Mary, they will be replaced, and that is where you might, the only time you might get a little bit of aggression in a wild dog pack will be where you have replacement of the alphas, or the formation of a pack and the establishment of the alphas. Ah. Hello. I don't know who that is, but I'm sure they're having a lovely afternoon with wild dogs on their way in. It's Mike! Good afternoon, Mike. Good, and you? Sorry, we're going to keep dashing. Did you see the dogs? Awesome, thank you, Mike. What was I talking about? Oh, alphas. So there might be a little bit of an aggression. Sorry, Mary. There might be a little bit of aggression from the dogs in terms of forming their next alpha pair. But bear in mind that alpha pairs getting too old very seldom actually happens, because there's a massive mortality rate for wild dogs before the age of 5 years old. So the chances of them actually reaching old age is very, very slim. Probably what will be more likely is the alpha female or the alpha male is killed, at which point one of the other dogs will step into the position, perhaps one of the beaters within the wild dog pack. Bless you. They're impala there, and the dogs know it. They can smell them. I can't see them, no, Darby. But I know that they live here. Dominique, no, wild dogs are not found in urban areas all that regularly. You might encounter them particularly in the city of Palabora, which sits right on the border of Kruger. Sometimes they do come through urban areas, but you won't find them denning there or living there in the same way you might with hyena. So, no, they won't live in urban areas. And they definitely, which is good for us, because the last thing we want them to do is to come into contact with domestic dogs. Okay, I'm just going to do some quick VR presenting. Sorry about this, everybody. Over here, we are sitting with a wild dog pack, and they've led us on a wild chase through the bush, and they're now just about to pop out into the road right next to us. There you go, there's a little bit of sniffing going on. Some scent testing. This is wild dog breeding season, and what a perfect sight. seeing these critically endangered wild dogs. Less than 500 of them left in South Africa, and they're just about to trot off to go off in search of dinner. They've so far been unsuccessful. Their stomachs are rumbling, and it's time for the whole pack to work together as a team to catch whatever happens to be unlucky enough to be on their menu. There she goes, and we're going to be following them. And we are going to be following them, as it happens. I'm just taking these opportunities while they're nice and close to the vehicle to present to the virtual reality rig, but you won't miss out on a moment. Pretty sure one vertebra's come out of place when we hit that bump. While we watch our dogs frozen in the search for their meal, let's go over to Tristan with quite a small... I've messed up this link. Let's go over to Tristan with a caterpillar, I'm sorry.
Don't worry, Jamie, I've had a tongue-tied afternoon too. Well, yes, we were trying to reposition for the lions, and oh, sounds like they are up as well, so that's good news. And as we came around, I don't know if any of you can spot it there, but there is the most beautiful caterpillar sitting on the stalk of grass right there. So it is a dice moth caterpillar and is my favorite caterpillar by far. They have the most incredible markings with that maroon and white stripes with those long little feathery spikes that come off. So really, really beautiful. And they often sit like this with those spikes kind of erected and their body pinched up in the middle. Obviously that's how they move, is that they have legs on the back end and the front end, and they inch their way along these grass stalks. But I'm really surprised to see such a large one right out in the open. They do have aposematic coloration, which means they do display coloration that shows everybody that they're not something to be eaten. So sitting out in the open is not the worst thing for them, but generally they like to be down in the lower depths of the grass. But what a cool find. So just shows you sometimes when you're with these big creatures that it's good to look around a little bit and to search, and you'll find beauty all around you, which is really good. And given that it is World Wildlife Day, it's always nice to have more than just the big cats and predators. So let me carry on with my movement to try and get to where the lions are. They just moved off slightly. Now I don't think they mated. I think the male tried to mate with the female but didn't get any luck, so I'm just going around to where they were heading. Oh, can't even see them in this grass, is so long. Oh, I can just see a paw sticking up there. So it's quite funny to see how they disappear in grass like this. But I'm going to go around and just park ahead of them, and like I say, hopefully by the time they decide to actually wake up properly, they'll walk relatively towards us. So they didn't go very far at all. They stood up and lay back down again. I think she's just hot and bothered to find herself. Getting here would be in the perfect place to spend the remainder of the afternoon, should they not get up. But you can see now she's even cocked the back leg to be able to get a bit of a breeze over that stomach and just help with the cooling down after this hot afternoon that they've had. Her leg is not wanting to stay up. I think there's a conflict of interest here. The leg muscles are saying no, the brain says yes, and we have a game of back and forth with the leg at this stage. Now hopefully we'll start to see her yawn. If we start to see yawning, then we will know that she's going to get up again. But what is quite incredible is the sunset. So talking of the sunset, I am wrong. Tayla, your sunset is quite spectacular, and I believe you're on a beautiful termite to display that sunset. So let's go over to Tayla and have a look.
I've stood up on a very, very small termite mound, Tristan, so I've got a little bit more of a view than I normally would, and we're just having a last look at the last clouds that have got a bit of colour to them. Fortunately, we didn't make it here in time. We were marching, trying to get to the termite mound as quick as we could. but that was not the case this afternoon. We were a little bit slow, but it is beautiful up here. It is hot and humid as ever. The breeze is now completely gone, but there is a little bit of a cool sort of feel out here at the moment, and I hope that we keep getting this cool feel, because I don't know how pleasant it is going to be to sleep in, well, this very, very hot weather. We'll have to go and have a swim a little bit later, I think, and not in a mud wallow in the swimming pool, of course. I think you'd have to be very brave to go and have a swim in a mud wallow during the day, never mind at night time. But it's lovely out here, isn't it? And it's been such a fantastic bushwalk. We've seen so many different things. And, well, Craig ate the lovely cake that I baked for Jamie out in the bush. We've seen, well, all sorts of critters, haven't we? But have a quick listen. I don't know how well you can hear, but the birds are all giving their last call. Nope. They've gone completely quiet now. Can you believe that? That is ridiculous. Right, let me come down off of this mound. Well, actually, before I climb down this termite and fall on my bottom, it is, like I said, it's been fantastic, and sadly I couldn't get you to hear all the birds calling, but Jamie will probably be able to help you out, or even Tristan. Maybe you even get a lion roar a little bit later. But we hope to see you again tomorrow morning for the sunrise safari. I'm sure it'll be action-packed. Hopefully the dogs are still around, but from the walking team, it's been absolutely spectacular, and we will see you all soon. But let's go back across to Jamie and find out what she's going to do for the rest of the evening.
I'm still following these wild dogs. What else is there to do but to look at beautiful views like this? Isn't it stunning, Dave? The sky is a sort of funny colour of pale violet blue. The air is filled with the smell of wild dogs. They've trotted past us numerous occasions, stopping to sniff every now and again. Okay, now this time I really mean it. They are getting very close to the boundary. I'm not saying it's the last view of them. I'm just saying this time they really are. They're at a corner now. So either direction that they go in, unless they turn around and come back the way they've come, they're going to go off our property. But let's try for a view that may or may not be the last view of them. Let's leave it at that. Speaking of wild dogs and the question about whether or not they're ever found in urban areas, they do move out of fenced areas completely. That does happen. The reserve that I used to work at had no wild dogs. We'd have a pack run through about once a year. We had no idea where they came from. They were probably different dispersal packs. Look at these puppies sniffing the road. What's there? You gorgeous creatures, you. What have you seen? Another wild dog. Go on, off you pop. Catch up with the rest of the group. Oh yes, so the reserve I used to work at, all of a sudden wild dogs moved in, settled down, had their pups at the reserve itself, which came as a surprise to all concerned. So it does happen. Wild dogs have been found right up near the top of Kilimanjaro. So have frozen leopard carcasses as well, strangely enough. So they do go to all kinds of extraordinary places. Okay, let's catch up because that's such a gorgeous bundle of dogs. A tapestry of wild dogs, how's that? Does that work? I like it. Tapestry of wild dog when they're all together like that. Or a canvas. How about a canvas of painted dogs? Getting so artistic. Brent would be proud. Canvas of wild dogs. Africa has an artistry all of her own. This has been one of the more sedate wild dog chases, actually. If they'd really been going full tilt, I don't know that we would have stayed with them as long as we did. Are we thinking about sleeping here for tonight? Because that would be really nice, if that's what you were thinking. Because then we could come and see you tomorrow morning before you disappear. You don't understand a word I'm saying, but that's okay. Okay. I love it next to the grass as well. Not next to the grass, in the grass. Nice to just sit and listen to the francolin and the other bird sounds. Crickets, cicadas. And most of all, a kind of pressing silence that reigns supreme out here. Thank you, doggies. I'm going to go up to this next corner and watch them trot down the road, and then we'll leave them be. Okay, let's just go to that corner quickly. Have one last shot of them. I've got to stop saying that. Might turn out not to be true. Apparently there's some debate as to whether or not Brent was watching. Apparently he was, but was unceremoniously removed from final control. I'm uncertain as to why, but I'm sure I will find out a bit later. Ah, he was trying to do Kirsty's job. So an unprecedented day all around, hey Kirst? Bush, Mum, I agree. A truly, truly magnificent sighting. We've been very lucky. I hope there's some kids out there watching. An all-appropriate reminder of the day, World Wildlife Day, with with the most endangered carnivore or predator in South Africa, at least. What a nice way to spend the day. And highly appropriate as a symbol of what World Wildlife Day stands for. Bye-bye, pups. Have a good evening. Oh man, Djuma just gives us the best birthday presents. Time to move on, look for other things. Bye bye doggies. Thank you for that. Right, what should we do now, Dave? Find a chameleon? Okay. Well, we've been racing around. Tristan's just had such a lazy afternoon. I mean, he just hasn't moved. What's he been up to all afternoon? Let's go and find out whether his lions are giving him any excitement.
Well, Jamie, I know it has been an afternoon of not very much movement, and every time we go off air, the lions get up and move, and then they lie down exactly when we come back again. So it's been one of those afternoons where the lions haven't really played the game. But given that it is your birthday today, it was only fitting that you got the wild dogs, and I'm very happy that you did. It is a special thing to be able to follow wild dogs, and especially on World Wildlife Day, the most endangered carnivore that we have here. It really is quite fitting to have them on the show and to be able to talk about it and highlight the problems that they have. So I'm really happy for you, and given that it is your birthday, I think it was most fitting that you had them running around and doing what they did this afternoon. As for our lions, though, they have been very, very sedate, and maybe that's fitting because I've had the week off and I've come back and it's easing me back into drive and allowing me to get back into the swing of things. So I must admit that's not the worst way to start, by having mating lions. Unfortunately, they have been a little bit sluggish, and in this long grass they're almost non-existent. I tell you what, if you had to drive on the road, which is probably about 30 meters away from here, and you had to drive on that road now, and you would not absolutely see them without having a spotlight and picking up their eyes. Oh, and as I say that, he stands up. Yay, look at that. See, Jamie, we've got some luck too. Finally, some action. It doesn't look very it's not like the wild dogs in terms of how they run, but it is action nonetheless. Now, I'm pretty sure, given our afternoon that we've had, is she's going to sit down behind the thickest bush to be able to mate. So I'm going to get onto it quite quickly and try and see if I can get into the gap so that we can keep following her and make sure that we get on camera. Like we've had very little of it, so let's try and see if we can get in here. Oh no, see, behind the tree. Hold on. There we go. So slightly more noise coming from them this time. But that is very, very tame when it comes to mating. I find that lions tend to be a little bit tamer than what the leopards do. Leopards tend to lash out a lot more. The females tend to be a lot more feisty than what the lionesses do, but that was still very tame even by lion standards. There wasn't too much. You can see she's still not happy about him. He lay down quite close and she just lifted her paws to say, take one step closer and you're going to get it on the nose. And he heeded the warning, tucked his nose in and looked very sheepish for a second there. He still does, and is making sure that he's not going to put his head too close. So there we go. At least we got some action out of them. Hello, guys. Are they not the most beautiful animals, though? These two in particular are two of the best looking specimens that we have. They are both in their absolute prime. The young female just coming into the best years of her life, and I suppose so is that Birmingham male. They were quite young when they took over, so he's in his absolute prime as well. So really, really, really beautiful specimens to look at. And it seems that they're a little bit more awake. You can see she's got her head up now and she's really listening quite intently to the sounds of the night. And as the daylight sounds are starting to dip off, so the nocturnal sounds will start to come up, and she'll be listening for other lions and hyenas and trying to hear if there's any prey animals around. But generally when they're mating like this, hunting is not really on the menu. It's more about procreation. So you can see he just keeps a watchful eye on her. So as soon as she moves, he'll get up and move. So Victoria, this is a very interesting question because I don't think we can fully measure how lions respond to whether or not they feel any sort of emotion at a loss of a member of the pride. There is definitely some sort of emotion that is shown. And how we measure that is going to be very difficult. But I've seen countless times with lionesses moving around quite a lot to be able to try and find that lost member. So particularly if they've lost a cub or a previous cub, but they'll move in that area for long periods, contact calling over and over and over again. And you can see visibly that they're quite stressed by the fact that they can't find this individual. But when it comes to older lions, so I've seen very old lions that have died through old age, and they tend to just drop off the pride and become too old to actually move with them. And it's almost like the pride accepts the fact that they can no longer contribute, and the pride then moves on, and they don't really go after them looking. But when it's a younger member of the pride or a cub, then you find a very visible stress on these lionesses. But I suppose there is some emotion. Like I say, it's just difficult to measure exactly what it is and how much they feel. I know that with cubs, particularly if cubs die, they do get over it quite quickly. Within 2-3 weeks, they're already starting to mate again. So it just depends. I mean, like I say, there is some stress shown, but whether or not they will actively feel emotional about it for long periods of time is still debatable. We don't have a method of measure for that, so we can't really tell. It seems like she's flopped back over again and gone back to sleep. So she's had enough of him for this afternoon again. It's time to have a nice little rest. But you can see that very distinct black stripe that goes straight down the middle of his head. That's the easiest way for me to identify him, but it's going to soon go away by the looks of it. It looks like he's getting dark all over the top there now. So I'm going to have to find another way to ID him. I'm sure lots of you out there have different ways that you know who is who, so if you have a tip for me, you're more than welcome to send them through at #SafariLive. I'd love to know what you use to be able to identify the Birmingham boys. Obviously, Nkuhuma at the moment is so battered and scarred, and that's a little bit easier to see with his scars under his right eye at the moment. And then Tinyo with the tooth, and Nsuku, I'm not actually sure how you guys tell Nsuku. And I haven't seen Nsuku for a long time, so So you say that Nena, you know how to recognize him by the 2 lines on his nose. Well, like I say, I haven't seen his nose, so next time I see him up close, I'll be able to have a look and see. But like the way that I always recognize Nena is through that black line that runs through the middle. It's almost like a mohawk of black through the top of his head. So that's what I always use. But like I say, it seems like that's not going to work for too much longer, given that he is getting darker. So I'm going to have to find another way, and those 2 lines might just be the way. So thank you very much for that. It's also quite difficult when you don't see them for long periods of time and they end up getting a bit battered and bruised. There's a lot of scarring and things that you don't end up being able to see, and so you kind of see them one day and then 3 months later they rock up and there's a new scar on the face, and it's always got to kind of look again. They've also grown a little bit, their coats have darkened a little bit, so it takes a bit of time to actually get to recognize them again. I know the other night when I found those 2 Matimbas, it took me a while to kind of work out who they were, but it was definitely looked like them. They were much bigger than what the Birminghams are. The Birminghams are big boys, but those lions we saw the other day were really quite large, so it's quite difficult to know exactly who's who when you've got a lot of transient lions and they get into adult phase. Right, so we're going to try and see if we can get one more bout of activity from these lions. And while we do that, we're going to go to Jamie, who I believe bumbling about on her birthday.
Bumbling about on my birthday? What a lovely ring that has to it. And in all of the chaos, speaking of birthdays, I completely forgot to say thank you to Tayla for my birthday cake. Of course, I couldn't see it, which is most unfortunate, but I'm sure that some of you will have sent me screenshots of what she prepared for me. So I thank you for those of you in advance who send those through, and thank you to Tayla and to Craig for preparing me a birthday cake. I'm not sure it's one I'm going to sample though. It's the thought that counts, definitely the thought that counts. I wonder what we shall have to do for Tayla's birthday. I'll have to try and return the wrap favor, which will be a disaster. Did you just go, Dave?
No, I just laughed.
Oh, you just laughed, okay. I was going to say, do you have no faith in my rapping abilities? I would not blame you for having no faith in my rapping abilities. You would be spot on. I don't think I can rap to save my life. Gotta try though. Yeah. Not tonight though. Not tonight. It's too gorgeous an evening to be spoiled by my nonsense. Oh, by the way, we heard the dogs yipping excitedly after we left them. I think they might have killed something just beyond where we could actually go to see them, unfortunately. But I think they did actually manage to get some dinner. Which is... Oh, I'm sorry, Giraffe. You were a strange thing to see. That was so weird. I'm not going to spotlight it. I can't. It is a diurnal animal. It is starting to get dark. I don't know if, Dave, if you can do anything with that. Oh, you can. Oh, the reason I got so confused... What did Kirsty say there?
I'm not sure.
Kirst, what was that chirp? Ah, yes, I remember. We need a silhouette of a giraffe. We had a discussion about how when giraffe is silhouetted against the sky, it looks a lot like a sock puppet. I'd forgotten about that. I promised myself one day I would actually make a sock puppet giraffe and try it. I never got around to it. The reason I got so confused is this female's baby is actually lying down a bit further to the right of her. And because it's lying down, its eyes were at such a strange height. It's over there, Dave. I don't know if you'll be able to... At the back there. There you go. It's so dark. No, it's almost invisible. Sorry, everybody. I don't want to spotlight it because it is a diurnal animal, and therefore the spotlighting can leave them dazzled for quite a long period afterwards. And a young giraffe is absolutely on the menu for lions, so I don't want to leave it going into the darkness, stumbling about and not able to see all that well. That would be grossly unfair. But it was at a weird height because it was lying down, so it was kind of... It made me look twice. I thought I was looking at a really long-necked hyena. And there you go. Ash, you were wondering if they stand up when they sleep. Ash, no, they don't. They can actually doze standing up. Hello, Corsa. Sorry, Corsa. They can actually stand up while they're asleep. However, generally they'll lie down. Giraffe don't sleep all that often. We'll go into this in a sec. Giraffe don't sleep all that often, but they will, when they do, they'll lie down, but their necks will stay up. So they'll lie down like a camel might almost, but their necks will stay upright the entire time. They will never drop their heads and rest it on the ground. And obviously in that position they're quite vulnerable because they can't get up at great speed. So it does make them slightly more vulnerable. But on the subject of sleep, I read... Oh, sorry, Dacre. On the subject of sleep, I read an interesting article about elephants sleeping and the fact that they sleep the least out of any animal, and the correlation between size and the amount that an animal sleeps. And generally a smaller animal sleeps more than a larger animal, but of course the lions are much larger than us and they sleep for 22 hours a day, so it's not a completely accurate comparison. But the elephants only entered the rapid eye movement sleep, which of course was always thought to be connected to memory forging or cementing within our brains. But apparently elephants only enter rapid eye movement sleep roughly every 3 to 4 days. Obviously baby elephants are different. They will sleep far more often, but how interesting is that? And not only that... Oh, that wasn't what I was going to say. I was going to say the way that they measured it was they actually put a... You know how you get these health monitors? They put one in their trunks to detect movement, and if the trunk was still for more than 5 minutes, it was declared sleeping. 1, 2, 3 bronze-winged coursers. It is the year of the bronze-winged coursers. Okay, I'm just going to switch my lights off and let them fly off. Plop. I promise you there weren't as many bronze-winged coursers last year. It must be the rain we've had. I heard one calling the other night as well. Excuse me. I'm sorry. Do you mind if I come past? Now, having had a long discussion about sleeping and how often different animals sleep, let's go across to the master of all, the lions.
Well, indeed, Jamie, they are the masters, and this is a prime example as why you should never be walking around in the bush at night on foot. If you have a look straight in front of these headlights in this area here, there are 2 lions lying right there, and if you can spot them, I'll give you a serious pat on the back, because the only thing you ever see is a tail flicking up there. I think they're just a little bit to the left of that. So, Lamek, if you go a little bit to your left, there we go, just next to that round leaf teak, we should see a tail whip up every now and then, but that is where 2 lions lie. So you can see if you were walking through here at night, now you can imagine without any lights how difficult it would be to see those lions. And even if you came here during the day and you're tracking these animals, it just shows you how tough it is sometimes to find them. But like I say, just watch closely to that green bush on the right side of the frame, and you'll see every now and then, and that will give you an idea of where those lions actually are. You can actually just see the Birmingham boy's head right on the left hand side there, just poking up through the grass, but otherwise they are almost invisible, and that's why lions will also hunt at night. You can imagine any antelope that walked through here, whether it be a buffalo, a kudu, impala, is not going to see that if they sit dead still, and so they can utilize this long grass to their advantage at night and really be able to hunt quite effectively. There you go, there's the tail just flicked up. Isn't that amazing? So, given that they are like this, and that we're not going to see too much more from them, I don't think. I think we're going to leave them be and let them continue on their little honeymoon, and what else we can find on our way home. Red, so you want to know if all animals see in the dark? Well, varying degrees of seeing. I think it depends on what you define as see. If all animals can see as well as the lions, no, definitely not. The cats have a very different eye structure to what the antelope have. It's all to do with rods and cones. So cones are cells that pick up color or have color receptors, and rods are cells that pick up light. And so in lions and leopard and the nocturnal creatures, allows them to be able to see. Their vision is very, whereas with most of the antelope species, their color vision is still pretty good, and so they don't see you nearly as well at night. And there you go, look at them emerging. Amazing. Hey, you asked the question because we were going to go, but here they go. Same ritual as normal, and let's see if he's going to do it again. Just now he tried to tackle her down with his paws, so he actually to bring her and find the spotlight. And
sorry about that, everybody. It seems as though Tristan disappeared off your screens. It seems as though he lost signal. One of those inevitabilities when bringing you a live safari from the middle of Africa. Well, not quite the middle, but you get the idea. So I've been searching high and low for a chameleon for Dave. No such luck just yet. Taylor's got a special knack for spotting them, and so does Brian. Brian did such an amazing chameleon spot the other night. I happened to be sitting in final control after bushwalk, and I saw him see that chameleon. Wow, it was incredible. I was so impressed. Did you hear about that, Dave? He spotted it from the back at night in a moving, while the car was moving. It was mad skills, I'm telling you. Sorry, we appear to have found another car. Not a chameleon. Whoop. Crunch. How's it, Orbs? How are you? Good. Hi, guys. Cool. Yeah, those Madutch went north towards Sydney's for tomorrow. I'm sure they won't be far. Okay.
Those lions were amazing.
Were they awesome?
Absolutely amazing.
Wonderful.
Did you get good footage?
We got some very amazing footage. How?
Were we in the background going?
Give me 1 second, sorry. Okay, we're going to send you back to the lions, finish off our conversation. Sorry.
Alright, so we're just trying to reposition because they ended up moving off quite quickly, and I actually lost visual of them, and we had a few little gremlins creep in as well as me losing visual, so it all happened probably quite good because they literally just disappeared in this long grass, and so I've managed to find them again now. And there we go. There's the Birmingham boy. He's looking as regal as ever. So there we go. We're going to take the spotlight off and use the lights of the car. It's going to be a much easier way to do things. And she's just gone down to sleep again, but he's really still quite awake. He's become a lot more awake in the evening. You've seen him smelling the air. You can see he's doing it again a little bit, lifting that nose, just sniffing. He's a lot more receptive to noises. Every now and then he just pokes his head up and listens, and he's actually the one that's been standing up before she has and been sniffing around her, which has prompted her to get up and move. And so he's a lot more alert now that the darkness of the night is starting to fall, and he can know and sense that probably his brothers and varying other animals are going to be up and moving. But again, the camouflage on that female is just incredible. It doesn't even look like she's lying in front of him, and she's not a small girl by any stretch of the imagination. So, an amazing, amazing ability they have to be able to camouflage. And like I say, we're talking about the eyes, and so just to wrap it all up, is saying that the antelopes have slightly different cells in their eyes, and so they can see in color but not really very well at night, but they'll rely on their sense of hearing and their sense of smell to be able to detect these predators. Today there's a little bit of a breeze blowing, and so the antelope will be able to pick up these males or this female lion and be able to smell that lion smell, and they'll know then if there's a threat around, and they'll be far more vigilant. Also, you'll find that most antelope species are going to try and avoid areas like this where it's very thick vegetation, long grass. They'll try and stay in more open clearings with shorter grass that they can then potentially see these lions coming. So antelope, even though they don't see very well at night, are still very, very clever. And their sense of hearing and their sense of smell is still spectacular, just like the cat's is. And it has to be quite balanced, because otherwise you'd end up in a situation where if the lions were too well adapted and were better evolved, they would unfortunately be able to kill everything in their path, and we'd end up with a situation where there would be no antelope left for them to eat. And likewise, if the antelope were too fast or too sort of wily for the predators, we'd end up with a situation where the predators wouldn't eat and they would then die. So everything's got to be balanced, and it's a really tough game out here for each one. There's a little bit of give here and there, but really it's not much, and they're all very well balanced in terms of their senses and be able to detect one another through the different facets of the day. Alright, but like I say, I think we're going to leave them here and let them have a little break from vehicles and enjoy their romantic evening. Just come out of the month of love and Valentine's Day, so maybe this is a late celebration of all things Valentine's. So I think we're going to let them be and let the female sleep and rest, and we'll leave him to do what he needs to do and carry on. But what a spectacular afternoon. I know they were quite lazy at times, but just to see them mating is really quite spectacular, and to have them on the property and around again in our traverse is always really, really nice. So really happy that we found them, and glad that we were able to spend so much time with them. It's been really quite nice. Oh, and look at that, we've got a bit of lightning now on the western skyline, so I'm just going to stop here and we'll just go up onto the sky, and maybe we'll be able to see. I'm going to turn off all my lights so that it's dark so that you can pick it up. Now, I haven't heard any thunder yet, but let's see if there's any more flashes of light. So it is quite black now. Don't worry, this is not a technical gremlin creeping in. We're just trying to see if we can get these flashes of lightning. There we go. You can just see them faintly in the distance. So in the distance there's these little bursts every now and then. There we go. I don't know if you caught that there. It's still very soft and not too much light, but it is right down in the south. And it's been muggy and humid enough for a real big storm to roll in, so it might be spectacular this evening. Look at that, isn't that incredible? So what a beautiful way to end the day. There's nothing better than a really big evening thunderstorm. I love when big bolts of lightning shoot through the air and you hear that thunder rolling in. It's one of the best sounds in Africa, and then the rain that follows is always quite amazing. So definitely keep our eye on that. But we're going to carry on, because if that does reach us, which it's come up out of nowhere, if that decides to come towards us, we're going to get a little bit wet. So I don't want to get very wet, and I'm sure we don't want to get the camera wet, so we're going to go and try and get out of here and get back to camp. So while we do that, let's go across to the birthday girl herself, who is not wishing upon a star, but wishing upon the moon.
Oh, what more could one wish for, really? We don't need to wish upon a star when we've got views like this. That is so gorgeous. And as Tristan said, there's the clouds on their way towards the moon. That sounds ridiculous, but you know what I mean. Such lovely sounds. Balmy afternoon. I think the build-up before the storm, I wonder if it's going to hit us overnight. We'll find out. And since we're looking at the moon, and since it is, well, you know, been such a fantastic drive, I also just want to say a big thank you on Steph's behalf, and on, of course, for myself as well, to all of the Wild Earth crew members who have made the day so phenomenally special for us. It has been a truly lovely birthday, and I'm sure Steph feels much the same. We're very lucky to work with such amazing people, and we are very lucky to have such amazing viewers, so thank you to you all. I hope you had fun this afternoon, because Dave and I sure did.
There we go.
Can I say it again, Dave? Time is marching on. I didn't realize the pun the first time I said it the other day. Aww, we got a treat and a tweet from Brent Leo Smith, who is watching with Ellie, who some of you may know, and Brent says a very happy birthday. Thank you, Brent. I've been spoiled rotten. I'm very lucky to have somebody so special. And Ellie too, of course. It's Ellie's birthday tomorrow. My goodness, what a party weekend it shall be. Is it the weekend? It is the weekend. Yeah. It's the weekend. Right, well, what shall tomorrow hold for us? I'm kind of committed now to stopping in this position, so this is where we're going to stay for the last 2 minutes of our live safari. Perhaps we shall find some leopards. There are lots of bugs flying into my face. What a way to end off an evening than being bombarded by insects. How are you doing back there, Dave? Oh, one just made a beeline straight for my face. It's okay, I'm sure I'll survive. It is part of the reality, get out of my sleeve, of working out here. We'll take it though. When you get to experience afternoons like we did with those wild dogs, so close that we could have touched them if we had been so inclined, not that we ever would have, and a really lovely way to finish off World Wildlife Day. It's a great opportunity to raise awareness for all of the threatened fauna and flora, but fauna especially of our incredible planet. There are so many special, unique species just like those wild dog. It would be a terrible, crying shame if we as the human race were to allow even more of them to go extinct. So I hope you're all thinking of our fantastic wildlife. On that somewhat serious note, and very deep note, thank you to Dave. Thank you, Dave. I'm so sorry if you've got a sore back tomorrow. I really am. Thank you, Dave. And thank you to Kirsty. And Kirsty, who else is in final control? I didn't know. Megan. Thank you to Kirsty and to Megan, and most especially a big thank you to all of you. I hope you had an absolutely joyful ride along with us, and that you all got bounced around in the back. And thank you to Anwar and Brian. My goodness, I feel like an Oscars winner. Thank you to all of you. I'll see you on the Sunrise Safari. Bye-bye, everybody.